Morning. Okay, guys, I am picking up where I left off at yesterday, which was going over the answers to the novel study. No, I have not done any reading yet. I got up, I made my nephew's breakfast, I took a shower, and then I got dressed and came in here. So, as you can see, I'm wearing my Cardinals gear because today should have been opening day, but COVID-19 kind of put an end to that. So I just went ahead and decided I was going to wear a Cardinal shirt today. And for all you Cubbies fans out there, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to start off with chapters 5 and 6, vocabulary study. So you had another matchup, which was you were matching synonyms to the vocabulary words. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. So, matchup. A synonym is a word that means the same as another word. For example, happy and joyful are synonyms. Okay? Match the vocabulary words with their synonyms. So your vocabulary words for 5 and 6 are files, swarthy, befuddle, minuscule, disgruntled, and thronging. So those are your vocabulary words. These are the synonyms: tiny, dark-skinned, irritated, swarming, confused, and bottles. Okay, so that's what we got. So chapters 5 and 6, that was Diagon Alley and then the journey from platform 9 3/4, which is up on YouTube. Chapters 1 through 5 we read in class or read at school. So hopefully you guys remember those chapters. But if not, maybe later I'll make YouTube videos for chapters 1 through 5. We'll see how things go. Okay, so our first word is files. Files. So files in the Harry Potter world are little tiny bottles, glass bottles that they would put liquids in and like potions and things like that. So files and bottles are synonyms. So that's where the first line is going to go. I'm not the best line drawer, but that's what it looks like. Okay. Our next word is swarthy. Swarthy. So when something is swarthy or somebody is swarthy, that means that they are dark-skinned. So you're just going to draw a line from swarthy to dark-skinned. Just like that. Just straight across. Okay. Our next word is befuddle. Befuddle. So when somebody is befuddled, that means that they are confused or they are lost or confused, lost, anything like that. So befuddle and confused are synonyms. So that's where the next line is going to go. Okay? So it should look like that. All right. Minuscule. Minuscule is our next vocabulary word, and that means something is little itty bitty tiny. Little tiny, very small. So minuscule and tiny are synonyms. So just like that. Okay. Our next word is disgruntled. Disgruntled. And that means that they are annoyed or they are irritated. So disgruntled and irritated are synonyms. Just like that. And then the last one we have is thronging. And the synonym for thronging is swarming, which means it's surrounding something. Okay? And then you have the next section, which is best word. Circle the word which works best in each sentence. So number 1, the shopkeeper gets disgruntled when customers are rude. The shopkeeper gets files for let me try that again. The shopkeeper gets files when customers are rude. Obviously, if you listen to me read them both, disgruntled sounds the best. So number 1 is disgruntled. And you would just circle it, just like that. Okay. Number 2, Flavia kept the I can't read today. I'm sorry, guys. Flavia kept the liquids of her chemistry set in a small glass minuscule, or Flavia kept the liquids of her chemistry set in small glass phials. So obviously, we just talked about phials were small bottles or small containers. So number 2 is phials. Okay. Number 3, Nicholas likes to thronging his brother by making up nonsense words. Or Nicholas likes to befuddle his brother by making up nonsense words. Befuddle is the correct word there. So number 3 is befuddle, because your context clue there is nonsense words, which means he's trying to confuse his brother versus trying to help him or give him information. Okay. Number 4. After spilling sugar, Katie carefully cleaned up the minuscule granules. Or after spilling sugar, Katie carefully cleaned up the swarthy granules. Obviously, I know you guys have sugar at home. Those granules are very, very tiny. They're minuscule. They're small. So minuscule would work best in that sentence. So number 4 is minuscule. Okay. And then number 5, I became quite swarthy after my holiday on a sunny tropical island. Or I became quite befuddled after my holiday on a sunny tropical island. Well, we just said that swarthy meant dark skin or tan. So number 5 would be swarthy. Context clue, tropical island. You get suntan there. Okay. And then lastly, number 6, I lifted a rock in the garden to find grubs and worms disgruntled underneath. Or I lifted a rock in the garden to find grubs and worms thronging underneath. So we know it's not disgruntled because, and that's one of the context clues in here. When you lift up a log or a rotting piece of wood and you see a bunch of bugs and worms and grubs like all in one area and they're swarming, that would be thronging. Okay, so number 6 is thronging. Okay, so your novel study should look like so. And if you did the little extra, it says, in this novel, what is a muggle? Name one character who is a muggle. So we know that muggle is the name of the wizarding folk that the wizarding folk describe people who do not have magical abilities. So an example of a muggle would be the Dursleys: Dudley, Vernon, Aunt Petunia, Pierce Polkiss, Mrs. Fig would also be acceptable, because they don't have magical abilities. Okay, so there's that part. The next part is understanding the story. Oops, wrong. Too many pages. Just a second. The next part is understanding the story. Okay, understanding the story. So the first 2 questions are multiple choice. In Chapter 5, where do Hagrid and Harry buy Harry's school supplies? A. Target. B. Diagon Alley. C. Nocturne Alley. Or D. Hogsmeade Village. Obviously, the answer to that one is the title of the chapter, and that is B. Diagon Alley. Okay. Now, Target, we know that targets aren't mentioned in Harry Potter world, even though we know they exist, but that's obviously an incorrect answer. And Nocturne Alley is part of Diagon Alley. It's kind of the shady part where all the dark wizards and witches hang out. And Hogsmeade Village is actually close to Hogwarts, and we don't get to see Hogsmeade until book 3. So we'll actually talk about Nocturne Alley in book 2. So just a little info there. In chapter 5, this is number 2 on the multiple choice. In chapter 5, what animal does Hagrid buy Harry as a birthday present? A cat, B, a toad, C, an owl, or D, a rat? And that is letter C. Hagrid buys him an owl, who Harry names Hedwig. Okay. Number 3, the short answer. The question is, what task does Hagrid need to complete at Gringotts Bank? What is peculiar or odd about the task? So Hagrid doesn't tell Harry specific details about what he has to do at the bank. He says he has to make a withdrawal at Vault 713. And he takes the package out and he puts it in his coat, and he doesn't tell Harry any more information about it. So that's basically what it is. That would be the answer. But Harry finds it odd because he thinks that there's money in the vault, but it's just this tiny little package. And he's like, that's all we had to come in here and get? Oh, okay, that's fine. And then number 4, the long answer. Describe what happens when Hagrid enters the leaky cauldron with Harry. How do other customers react when they see Harry? So when Hagrid and Harry first come into the leaky cauldron, everything stops. And then they realize that Harry Potter has come back to the wizarding world because he hasn't been there since he was a baby. Okay? And because of Voldemort disappearing and everything. So that's why everyone stops and stares at Harry, and they shake hands with him, and they meet him, and they're very excited to see him, and they're in awe of him. They're just awestruck. They're like, oh my goodness, Harry Potter has come back to our world. So they're very excited to meet him. So that's chapters 5 and 6. The next part is chapters 7 and 8. Okay, so that will be the next part that we go over. So I'm going to end this one right here, make a new video, and we'll tackle 7 and 8 next.